Hi, my name is Darcy Graham, and my presentation is on the Russian poet Anna Akhamatova. It is from my World Literature class under Dr. Stephen Fuller at Middle Georgia State College. Anna Akhmatova was born to Andrei Gorenko and Ina Erasmovna. Her father was a naval aviator, and her mother was a socialite whose affiliations with the People's Will restrained her children from political alignments throughout their life. The People's Will is a radical group that claimed credit for the assassination of Tsar Alexander in 1881. She was reared in an affluential area called Sarko Selo and studied at the Gymnasia, the Kiev College for Law for Women, and finishing her education in literary in St. Petersburg. She was one of the most acclaimed and revered poets of 20th century Russia. Her early life was plagued with death from a young age. Her two sisters died young of tuberculosis. One of her brothers died in the revolution, and one brother committed suicide. Her husband, Gumalov, was executed for conspiring against the Bolshevik government post-revolution. And her son was imprisoned during Stalin's purge for a total of 13 years, only to exit prison to fight in World War II. Robert Frost stated, "Poetry is what gets lost in translation." And according to John Simon, lyric poetry has the most to lose. Anna wrote several poems in 1922, published Anno Domino 22 in 1922. And after this one was published, there was bans placed against publishing her until 1940. However, her other works that she previously had published were Vesher in 1912, Chetki in 1914, and Belaya Steya in 1917. That was when the ones who smiled were the dead, glad to be at rest. Akhmatova's origins lie completely in Russian prose, not poetry. She had an original form. And Alexander Bloch said of Anne, "She writes verses as if standing before a man, and it is necessary to write as if standing before God." As a Russian writer and poet, Akhmatova's career was dictated by the communist government. Through censorship, her works were not allowed to be published, and she faced internal immigration at the hands of her government. Her writings were a direct reflection of what she had endured at the hands of the country that she refused to love or leave. As the future ripens in the past, so the past rots in the future, a terrible festival of dead leaves. There was turmoil in Russia throughout Anna's career. And in the aftermath of the revolution, with the social chaos, many intellectuals left to be able to have a more creative career. From 1922 to 1940, Anna Akhmatova was not allowed to publish any new works. She was considered an internal emigre, which meant that her writings were not compatible with the new social regime. Not under foreign skies, nor under foreign wings protected, I share all this with my own people. There, where, where misfortune had abandoned us. During Stalin's purge, most of Anna Akhmatova's work came from the despair that she experienced in her country. With the solidification of the Communist Party, Akhmatova was not allowed to publish any new works. She had been expelled from the Soviet Writers Union, and according to the Communist Party, Akhmatova was poisoning the minds of the Soviet youth. A little snapshot of she what was going on in Russia at the time in which Anna was writing. Anna's post-war writings include Trostnik, Requiem, A Poem Without a Hero, and I found it unique that Requiem means a mass for the repose of the souls of the dead. And after reading the poem, I can see where that definition fits. Anna left a legacy behind her in which millions of Russians know at least one of Akhmatova's poems by heart. Akhmatova's dirge-like recitation style has been used by many Russian poets. And she is admired for the advocacy of poetry as an enrichment to life, and she used it as a tool to share life's values with others. She appealed to the emotional side of life but remained outside of politics. And in reading many of her poems, it's admirable of her with everything that she was going through and had endured in in her life that she could write in the manner in which she did. She remained loyal to her Russian people despite the government's trials that they put her through, in which she struggled financially due to the lack of publishing. And her love lyrics and poetic experiments of grief are thought of as some of the best in any language, and she earned a prominent place in world literature.